Little Tattletales, listen, we have more information from Tory Lanez Meg Thee Stallion's trial. I'm going to be covering this whole thing, and I got to just be upfront with you. I'm so happy to see that bald-headed leprechaun go down. What did we first learn? One, we first learned that Tory's defense team has admitted that Megan actually was shot in the foot. They're not debating whether Megan was shot. Both sides agree Meg was shot. Tory's team is trying to imply that it's Kelsey. However, Kelsey is testifying for the prosecution. Why? Because the prosecutor was like, baby, if it's not him, it's definitely you. Kelsey is testifying for the prosecution, and the defense team's alibi, not even alibi, but their thing of why Kelsey would shoot her as opposed to Tory. Let's not forget that a couple other things came out in opening arguments. The prosecution says Tory tested positive for gunpowder residue, not DNA. DNA is when you have some type of bodily fluid or skin or some type of bodily human material on the gun. They did not do DNA testing. They tested for gun residue, which is completely different from DNA testing. Please be clear. That was misinformation spread by Tory's team. But when they tested for gunpowder residue, both Kelsey and Tory tested positive. It was not inconclusive. I repeat, whoever told you it was inconclusive, probably DJ academics in them. The prosecution is submitting evidence to the court to show that Kelsey and Tory tested positive for gunpowder residue, which they said is common because when a bang bang goes off in a closed area, of course there's residue. Again, don't argue with me. Go argue with the DA because they're the ones that's saying it, okay? And they have proof. Again, I know what you heard on Twitter, but what you heard on Twitter was nothing but BS and lies. But you guys, we have even more shocking things that came out. Tory literally grabbed Chelsea by the hair and threw her to the ground because after he shot Megan, Chelsea ran to help her. Tory came and threw Chelsea on the ground by her hair. This is all going to be corroborated with Kelsey's testimony. Let's get into this, but I wanted to bring you up to speed. This trial is going to be explosive, and so many social media lies, half-truths, and misinformation that was spread is going to be blown apart. Again, argue with the district attorney. This is not me reading Twitter threads. This is directly from the trial. Again, what do we know? Everybody in the courtroom agrees Megan was shot. They're trying to say, oh, that's the best thing that Chelsea did it. Kelsey did it because Kelsey and Megan were having jealous quarrels because they both slept with the baby, Tory Lanez and Ben Simmons. Mind you, in real time, Kelsey went to the shade room and said, what are they talking about? First of all, I don't even know Ben Simmons. They are literally making things up. It appears the defense's alibi is to throw everything against the wall and see what sticks. But you guys, it's not over. Let's get into what else happened in the trial. This was the prosecutor's opening. Let's run it down. Prosecutors opened with Dance B. That's what the defendant said before firing 5 shots at Megan's feet. Tory and Megan's argument escalated after Megan called Tory's music trash. And it is, right? Prosecutors say there was no love triangle story. Prosecutors alleged after Megan called Tory's music trash, she exited out of the vehicle and Tory got out the vehicle too. Tory then shouted, "Dance B," and fired 5 shots, emptying the clip. Megan was hit in both feet. I want to be clear about this. Neither defense or prosecutor are denying or contesting or arguing about whether Megan was shot in both feet. Neither of them. They both agree that's what happened. While bleeding, Megan limped for cover at a nearby house. Prosecutors say Kelsey followed Megan to help her. At this time, Tory began to walk towards Megan and Kelsey. Kelsey approached Tory to stop him from approaching. When Kelsey approached him, prosecutors say Tory punched Kelsey and pulled her to the ground by the hair. Prosecutors allege that Tory then demanded they both get back in the SUV. Megan and Kelsey complied with his wishes. He still had the bang bang out. And for those of y'all saying this is all cap, Kelsey and Megan hate each other. That friendship is over because of the way Kelsey acted with Megan. But need I remind you that Kelsey is testifying that all this is true and all this happened she's testifying to this, okay? The prosecutor already said. When they got back in the car, Kelsey sent a text to Megan's security guard, Justin Edison, that said, "Help, Tory shot Megan, 911. Prosecutors also introduced evidence that showed Kelsey sent a text to Megan's bodyguard alleging Tory shot Megan 5 minutes after residents called 911 reporting that they seen and heard shots coming from the black SUV. When the police pulled over the SUV, Tory and Megan were located in, When the police pulled over the SUV, right, that Tory and Megan were both in, they located a warm firearm in a slide lock position, which indicates every bullet in the firearm had been used. Okay, we're not done. And don't come to me about glass shards, because it's already been proven that in the actual real medical file, not what was circling on Twitter, it shows she was shot in both feet. And Tory's lawyer, his defense, is not arguing. They accepted that as fact. In the case, you can argue against whatever you want. They're not arguing that she was shot. They're arguing that he's not the one that shot him. Let's keep going. Prosecutor played an audio of Tory's call from jail to Kelsey. He kept apologizing for what he did to Meg in the call with Kelsey. Prosecutors introduced 3 key pieces of evidence. Tory apologized to Kelsey from jail and blamed his actions on that night on being drunk. Tory sent a text apologizing to Meg the Stallion. Tory allegedly apologized to Megan the Stallion's bodyguard, Justin Edison. He apologized to 3 people for what he did to Meg. And the whole thing that the prosecution is trying to say that it was a jealousy, a love triangle. Why are you apologizing to Kelsey if it was a love triangle? But anyway, let's not be sidetracked, because that's what the defense wants us to get into. Whether she slept with Tory, whether there really was a side triangle, a love triangle, that's not what we're on trial for. We are on trial for whether or not he shot her in the feet. He shot her in both feet. He agrees to that. Case closed. Prosecutors offered an explanation for why gun residue was on both Tory Lanez and Kelsey. I repeat, both of them had gun residue. If you say it's inclusive, I'm telling you right now, you are stupid and you are believing a Twitter lie. That did not happen. It was not inclusive. They both tested positive for it. Why prosecutors are bringing this up is because Tory Lanez's team is trying to blame Kelsey. They allege that Tory Lanez shot the firearm, but Kelsey tested for gun shots residue because she was next to Tory when he shot the firearm, and he got some on her when he assaulted her. These are accounts of the prosecution's opening statements. Again, Tory saying he's innocent until proven guilty. Woo, 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 y'all. This is not looking good. This is not looking good for Tory at all. Now listen to what Tory's team had to say. This was the defense opening statements. The defense called out the prosecutors for skipping and not mentioning Meg the Stallion's drunken, jealous tirade. Are they trying to say that Tory was afraid for his life? That led to Kylie Jenner kicking her out of her party. Of course, Kylie Jenner would be there because the Kardashians, when they're not stealing all of Black, Latino, Indigenous, you name it, culture, they're there to make sure that they can make the women of the culture pay. Let's keep going. When Megan got kicked out of Kylie's party, Tory left with her. On the ride home, Tory and Megan started arguing, and Kelsey sided with Megan. Tory then exposed Megan had an intimate relationship with him behind Kelsey's back to get Kelsey to turn on Megan. It worked. Now listen, this is what the defense is saying. Tory Lanez is a liar. This is the man that assaulted brutally Augusta Alsina, whatever. And then lied and said he never touched them because he wasn't in the building, even though there was video evidence. This man is a narcissist, pathological, balding leprechaun. Anyway, this is what the defense is saying. Kelsey then told Tory, oh, she always does this, and then told Tory that Megan had an intimate relationship with the baby and Ben Simmons behind Kelsey's back after Kelsey began dating both men. This confession escalated Megan and Kelsey's argument. I do want to point out that the Shade Room actually has a statement from Kelsey where she said that she doesn't even know Ben Simmons. Let me pick this up for you, where they said she doesn't even know Ben Simmons. This is a Shade Room exclusive. They said the allegations made by Tory Lanez's defense are false. Kelsey doesn't even know Ben Simmons. Doesn't even know. He's lying about all this. Now, there was talk that he tried to pay off Meg and Kelsey. We'll talk about that in a second. Let's keep going. There's more. Hold on. Let's see. Okay. Defense alleged that Megan demanded the SUV be pulled over moments later. She hopped out, went over to Kelsey's side to the vehicle, and began to beat up Kelsey. A witness, Sean Kelly, owner of the resident of the SUV was parked in front of, told police he witnessed this. Okay, but let me just add one more layer. Carmarian, Sham God on Twitter, dug this up. She said, by the way, Meg's friend said this from the jump on IG when they were upset that Kelsey was remaining silent. They just didn't know all the details. Listen to this. This is Megan's friend that posted this when the shooting happened. They knew the intimate details and they were mad that Kelsey was being quiet. Listen to what they said. They said, in her Instagram story, Jaylee said that Kelsey told her that Tory pulled out a gun after a petty argument and shot Meg. She said, how can you come in my room that day in the LA house and say, Tory shot Meg? You forgot you came back around 4 p.m. after you got dropped off, telling me the details about how he effing pulled out a gun during a petty argument and he got mad and shot her. The petty argument seems to be Meg saying that Tory's music was trash. You know, I do want to say this. Instead of everybody saying that Meg Thee Stallion did something to deserve it, you can just tell she got an attitude, and all the other things that people say about Meg, because she is strong, she voices her opinion, and she will bow to, well, I'm not going to say no man because I'm sure Party got something to say, but she ain't bowing to Tory Lanez, and she literally will tell these men that their music is trash. Why is it more believable that Megan and Kelsey got in a lover's dispute over Tory Lanez when even Kelsey is saying that didn't happen? And all the friends that were there that night that had witnesses said it didn't happen. Why is that easier to believe than the fact that Tory Lanez has a Napoleon complex? He might even be a narcissist, but he has an ego than all get out. And he thought Meg was disposable. He thought Meg, he could do anything he wanted to her, treat her anyway, and she would have no recourse. I'm being dead serious. Why is that? Especially consider Tory Lanez is an abuser. He has a hot temper. He has some DV charges. Anyway, let's move on, right? Jaylee also continued, but now you being quiet, you coward ass mouse B, really lied to me of all people about being injured because Tory was beating your A? Why you ain't say ish? But Meg's supposed to be your best friend. That's not how best friends work, and you know you wrong. God gonna handle you accordingly. I also remember you mentioned that they're gonna have to pay you something. Oh, did you forget that? Jaylee also revealed that both her and Kaylee listened to a voicemail that Tory sent, saying how sorry he was for shooting Meg. She wrote, remember how Tory called you and I told you to decline it, and we both listened to a voicemail of SA crying, saying how sorry he was for shooting her and how he was too drunk? That amnesia's a fool. Y'all keep asking why Kelsey's silent. Well, talk now, B. Woo! Let me just say something. Meg's story has been consistent from the beginning. Her friend's story that said that Kelsey confessed to them has been consistent. The only person whose story has changed has been Tory Lanez. And now that we don't have DJ Academics and all these people putting out misinformation, trying to taint the jury, you know what? This is one time I'm glad, you know, Tory don't have a jury of his peers, and ain't nobody listening to what DJ Academics or what your brother, sister's niece has to say about Meg and what type of woman she looks like. Y'all, woo! If this is all he got, that bald-headed leprechaun is going to serve time before he's deported back to Canada. Anyway, y'all, let me know what you think in the comments, and I will talk to you later.